Hello guys, welcome to another video. I know this isn't unpacking, but I am going to kind of do like not a book review, but kind of like diving, what's the word, diving into starter books. If you're trying to start your reading journey and don't know where to start, this video will hopefully help you find your genre and what you wanted. I did film this already, but I kind of failed at really crediting the author. Like, I would say the name of the book, but then I wouldn't say the name of the author, which I feel like is you need to credit the author too, so my bad. And then I just felt like I didn't go into enough like detail about what the books were about. I just went on about like the type of book they were. So I'm gonna try this again. Hopefully this is better. Also, the reason why this isn't unpacking is because I'm getting ready to go to my cousin's for a week, and I just want something easy and fun to edit. So I'm doing a book video again. Even though I'm pretty sure last week was the Haunting of Adeline rant that I did. I stand by what I said. That book was good. And I know not everyone likes it, but you know what? It's my cup of tea, okay? Anyway, we're gonna get into this before I ramble on too long. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This, I feel like, is a good book if you want to get into romance, but you're not fully sure. Like, you want to put your foot in the door, but you don't want to, like, peek your head in yet. I don't know if that made sense. This was good. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked it. It was a interesting read. I feel like this is light enough to like pull you in and get you to enjoy it. And I feel like it's got enough drama and mystery to keep it interesting. It's about a girl named Macy, and she has a childhood friend, I guess. Her dad and her have like a summer house that they go to, and her neighbor is this kid named Elliot, and they become really close, really tight. They're each other's best friend, but they only see each other in like the summer, and they start catching feelings. It is a romance book, and something happens to where Macy leaves, and she doesn't really contact Elliot for a very long time, and they run into each other. This is a second chance romance, which I think this is a good choice if you want to start that and really see if this is the genre for you. It's very light and fluffy from what I remember. Again, it's been a while since I read this book, and I've read so many books since, but from what I remember, there wasn't anything like super heavy in it. It was just pretty lame, fluffy, and you know, romancy, because it's a romance book. But I think this would be a good start if you want to get into it. The next book I have is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I don't know if I said that correctly. This is about a girl moving to a different state to kind of escape her life because something traumatic happened, and she wants to start over. And then she runs into this guy, Archer, doesn't speak, and they communicate through sign language, and she starts falling for him, and the whole town doesn't like him, so she kind of has to choose who to believe, and it was really good. I cried during the end. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is a shock factor in this book, and I was crying my eyes out. It was very sweet. It was very fun to read and very sweet, and I loved it so much. So yeah, I think this would be a good book to get into if you want something that's a little darker but still has very much a romance feel. Like overall it's romantic, but just like a little hint of like spice and like dark. This is good. When I say dark, I don't mean dark like dark romance. I mean just kind of like heavy stuff type dark. But this was very good, and overall it was pretty light, so I feel like you would be fine reading this, and it would help get your foot in the door for other genres if you want to branch out like me, where I will read mystery, dark romance, tragic romance, second chance romance. Did I already say mystery? Like I will branch out into other things. I'm getting ready to start fantasy soon, probably, so we'll see if I like that actually. Okay, so now we're gonna get into a more sad romance, tragic romance, if you will. If You Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. This was the first book I read. This was the book that got me addicted to reading. This is my favorite book, simply because it opened the door for so much, and I love it, and I will protect it, and it is precious. This follows a girl named Autumn and a boy named Finney. They are childhood best friends and neighbors, and they kind of separate in high school. They join like different cliques, and so they aren't in the same friend group anymore. They don't really see each other or talk. Their friendship kind of like deteriorates as they get older, but something happens and they start talking again, rekindling their friendship, and then a little sparks start going off, and stuff happens, and I cried for like 3 days after I finished this. And there is a sequel out now. Came out like a little over a month ago, and you best believe as soon as I got it, I did not put it down. If only I had told her. So this book is all Autumn's perspective. This book, you get a duo perspective. You also get to know his thoughts, which is really cool. Very, very good. Loved it. I did have a few questions by the end of it, but they weren't like super important. They were just like, I wonder type questions that like I could live without them being answered, but if they were to get answered, that would be cool too. But yeah, this was also really good. I feel like this might have been a little bit darker than the first one, just because this book picks up like right after this book, so there's a lot going on and a lot of healing, I guess I can say. I'm trying not to spoil it, but yeah, this book is a little darker, but it's still really good, and I feel like if you want to open the door for a tragic romance story, I feel like those would be great options. But you do have to read this one first, because if you just go to this one, you're going to be confused. So read If He Had Been With Me first, and then you can read If Only I Had Told Her. Okay, so now we're going to get into the more dark stuff. First we're gonna do mystery books, and of course I chose my favorite series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I love it. It's becoming a TV show and I'm so excited for it. Anyway, it's about a girl named Pip who is doing a school project, and she's trying to solve a murder from a few years ago that was never solved, and the whole case just didn't sit right with her. So she goes around and she becomes a little detective and finds the truth, which is jaw-dropping. I will leave it at that. But she also has help from a guy named Ravi, and they are a great team. They work together and they figure out what happened. And then the second book came out, Good Girl Bad Blood, and it follows Pip and Ravi again. I should note, this is all, like, the whole series is Pip's perspective, and it's her this book is her trying to find a missing person, and she has a podcast now that is basically just the events of the first book, and she uses that to her advantage to try to help get people to help solve this case. And yeah, she solves it, and again, my jaw was dropped dramatically. I was stunned. There's a huge plot twist at the end, and like, oh my gosh, I did not see that coming. And then we have the third book, the final novel, As Good as Dead. This book is so good. This is my favorite out of the whole series. It is darker. What can I say without even spoiling it? There's another mystery that arises in the town, and Pip and Ravi try to solve it, but things kind of go downhill kind of quick, and some bad things happen. And yeah, the ending had me crying and my jaw was dropped again. But yeah, I loved this series. There's also Killjoy, which is like a prequel to the first book. This all happens before the first one, so if you wanted to read this one first, you could. This is just a little like a little light-hearted murder mystery, and it's really fun, really short. You could get through this within a day. But yeah, it was good. It was really fun for me to read, and it was very lighthearted, and it was a very good distraction after finishing this book. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was all so fun. This series is a very fun series to read, and if you want to get into murder mystery, I highly suggest starting off with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because I feel like that book, or that whole series, does a good job of putting a little bit of everything into it, and mwah, it's so good. And when I say a little bit of everything, I mean like a little bit of everything you would get in a murder mystery book. I feel like it's beautifully written, beautifully thought out, well done. I loved the story, and I felt so connected to the characters. It was good. One thing about me is when I read, I put myself in the shoes of the main character. So if you hurt the main character, you hurt me. And some books it's hard to do that because I just cannot connect to the main character, but with these books, I was able to put myself in Pip's shoes and be like, yeah, I'm solving this mystery. It was really good. It was really fun, and I highly recommend. So the next book, we're gonna get into serious books that are about serious topics that are getting light shed on them. We're gonna start with the first one that I read, which is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. She has more books like this, such as You'd Be Home Now and How to Make Friends with the Dark. I have not read those. I do plan on it. I just don't know when I'll be able to get to them because I have so many books that I have to get through. I'm overwhelmed a little bit right now with how many books I'm trying to get through. Anyway, I do plan on getting to those books because this was so good. It's about a girl named Charlotte who self-harms, and she's trying to recover, and it shows the struggles of recovering and what kind of happens, and it's very triggering So definitely look up the trigger warnings. I feel like a lot of people ignore the trigger warnings when you really shouldn't. You need to look up the trigger warnings before getting into it. I feel like that's why a lot of people will talk about how much they hated a book if it's super triggering, because they don't take the trigger warning seriously. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a fresh reader, I've only started my reading journey for a little over a year now. I started like mid-March of last year, so I'm still kind of new to the whole reading thing. Take the trigger warnings so seriously. That's why they're there. So yeah, before reading this book, look up the trigger warnings, please, and thank you. Anyway, this was really good, and if you are a person who can handle this type of stuff, I feel like you would enjoy it. If it's your cup of tea. Some people can handle what's in here and still just don't like it because they just don't like that type of stuff, and that's totally fine. I like a variety of a little bit of everything. And like I said earlier, I believe I'm getting ready to get into fantasy, like soonish. I've got like 2 other books that I'm gonna read before I start my fantasy journey. Oh, I can't speak. But yeah, back to this book. Very good. I feel like the author does a good job not romanticizing it, and just showing what it's like from the perspective of someone struggling. I cried my eyes out reading this book multiple times. I want to get back into reading this again, actually. I'm gonna read this again soon. Like, I'm gonna make time to reread this, because I only read it once, and that was like a year ago, I think. Maybe a little less than a year ago. But I do plan on revisiting this book, because I feel like it's good to revisit books every now and then, just to like relive a story that you liked. But yeah, this was really good. Look up the trigger warnings and enjoy it. It's very heavy and triggering, and yeah, that's what I'm trying not to spoil these books, and it's kind of hard. But yeah, the next book, I'm still currently reading it. I'm gonna be honest, I'm taking my sweet time with this book on purpose. I would have already had this devoured, but again, like I said, I'm going to see my cousin in like 2 days, and she is also a book girly, so we plan on reading together, and this is the book that I'm going to read while visiting, because I have another book on the way, and as soon as it gets here, to be fair, it's gonna get here while I'm gone, but as soon as I get back and I get my hands on the book, I'm jumping straight into it, and I don't want to have to wait because I've got another book that I'm reading. So I'm kind of taking my time on this book, and I will have this finished soon so that I can devour my next book, which I'm so excited about. Anyway, this is The Way I Used to Be. Granted, I don't have it finished, but you know, I still know what's going on. It's about a girl named Eden, who also, this book is by Amber Smith. Almost forgot to mention the name. Amber Smith. Also Good Girls Guide to Murders by Holly Jackson, just in case I didn't say that. Anyway, The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. It's about a girl who gets assaulted, and she's in high school, so this book is her freshman to senior year. She's trying to figure out how to cope and heal while also dealing with the struggles of being a teenager in high school. And this book, again, I feel like you should look into like triggers for this book, because again, it's a very heavy topic that needs light shed on it. Just like Girl in Pieces, these are both books with heavy topics. And if you're someone who can't handle reading or hearing about that stuff, don't pick up these books because you will not enjoy it. But for me, I'm enjoying it so far. Like, I'm not even halfway through it yet, but like I said, the only reason why I don't have this finished yet is because I'm saving it for when I visit my cousin. So yeah, but this is so far really good, and I would recommend it because I feel like, yes, it addresses a very heavy topic, but I feel like this is one of the easier ones to get through, especially for a starter. Okay, so were my serious heavy books. We're not gonna get any lighter if I'm being honest, but we are gonna move to something else. Alice by Christina Henry. I really enjoyed this book. I do plan on finishing the series. I'm kind of slow when it comes to reading multiple books in a series. So yeah, I do plan on getting the other books and finishing it. I don't know when that's gonna happen. It'll happen eventually. I just don't know when. But this is like a dark reimagining of Alice in Wonderland, and there is assault in this book. That's all I will say, because I don't want to go into detail and like ruin it. But again, I would read this with caution. I would look up triggers again for this book because there are some dark topics in this book. But basically, Alice is trying to remember things. I don't think this is really spoiling, but the book starts off with her in an asylum and she doesn't really remember anything but a rabbit, and so she escapes and tries to get her memories back while finding this rabbit because it's all connected. I don't think I really spoiled anything there, and I think I did my best. But yeah, this was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really dark, and it gave the same vibe of Alice Madness Returns, the video game. If you've ever played that, this gave a similar feel to it. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And then we're at my final book, and this is my dark romance for starters. It is Hooked. This was the first dark romance I believe I read. I liked it. This is Hooked by Emily McIntyre, and it is part of the Never After series, and it is... I was shocked at what was allowed to be written in a book, but it was good. It was really good. I really liked it. A lot of people say that Scarred is their favorite. I have not read that one. This is the only book from the Never After series that I've read. I do plan on reading more. Again, I just don't know when I'll get to it. But yeah, this was good. This was the retelling of Peter Pan. The villain gets the girl. And it's Captain Hook and Wendy and their dark romance. The plot twist at the end though, like, I was baffled. I didn't know what to think. I was shocked. I was confused. I was feeling a lot of emotions. But yeah, this kind of opened the door to dark romance, and now it's like my favorite genre to read, but I do have to fluff it out with fluffier books like these. So yeah, if you are one who wants to get into dark romance, I will suggest reading, you know, a dark romance, or like if you feel like you can handle it, reading like a series, if it's like 1 or 2, maybe 3 books, and then reading something fluffy just to kind of like help you recover, I guess, from what you had just read. Yeah, because I love this stuff, but this cannot be the only thing I read. I have to have like filler books in between, or else I will lose my mind, because some of the stuff in these books, oh my gosh. Yeah, so if you plan on reading a dark romance, make sure you have like a filler book ready to go when you finish it. If you're the type of person who can do dark romance and dark romance early only, hats off to you. I can't do that, but you know, I'm sure some people can and do. It's just not what I can do. But I do love dark romance, and it is my favorite genre to read. I think Haunting Adeline is currently right now my favorite. But if you are just starting out, do not read that. Do not read that. Wait to read it. It is very dark, it is very heavy, it is very triggering. So start off with something light like Hooked. I feel like this would be good to read to get into dark romance. But yeah, this is it for this video. It's kind of longer than what I wanted it to be, but I guess I was talking about a lot of books. And I hope this helped you out if you're wanting to start reading in general, or if you want to start reading a new like book genre. I hope this helped. I didn't have any fantasy because again, I haven't read any fantasy books. I'm getting ready to read my first one soon. I've got like 2 books I have lined up before I start my fantasy journey. But yeah, so if you guys want me to do another one in the future after I've read more, like my variety is more spread out, I will be happy to. This is just what I have experience in and what I have read enough books in these to where I feel like I know what would be good to start off with and what would not. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video, and I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next, where I promise I will finish unpacking. I promise. The next video will be the end of that series. Okay? Bye.